Good evening. Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Believe in Monsters podcast right here on the Believe Network. This is the Believe in Monsters podcast. You're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon. You're listening to our friends Lucas Berry, Chris Krogman, and myself, Joe Gaither, talk about the Chicago Bleeping Bears. I don't know why you're listening to this show because our Bears suck. But we appreciate you and love you anyways. And you're listening to another episode after the Bears lost, shocker, to the Detroit Lions 31-26. Ay, ay, ay. The losing continues. The hapless coaching, the what the heck are you doing decisions continue. And Matt Eberflus hopefully inches closer and closer to the plank. Lucas Berry, how are you doing living in a dark, dark world?
I'm doing pretty well. I just got back from Taco Tuesday. Now I'm talking Chicago Bears to my boys. It's pretty good. We got Thanksgiving coming up. Even the Bears can't ruin a positive mood I have going on tonight. I'm feeling good. How are you guys doing? Chris, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Just got back from wrestling practice where both of my kids are now on their road to becoming
wrestlers.
So
you got a little Brock Lesnar up there, Kurt Angle?
Probably more Kurt Angle than Brock Lesnar, but
Randy Orton.
Yeah, they're young, so lots of time to grow into it. But yeah, it's a good time. It's fun. The family that kind of got us into it is they go to the same school as the boys, and now like they're around each other just 24/7. Like these kids are just like attached to the hip now, but it's a good time. Other than that, I'm in a fairly good mood regarding all things considered, even though the Bears lost another game. I think it was one of those games that gives you hope, but also realizing that you ain't going anywhere this year, so it keeps draft capital in check. So yeah, here we are. Yet another Sunday, yet another loss,
And not just another loss, another choke job. You're up on.
Was this the worst loss they've had under Matt Eberflus? Joe, was it? Is this worse than Denver?
No, it can't be worse than Denver because
I think it's worse than Denver, dude.
No, I mean, I think the reason it is because you got 4 turnovers and didn't
exactly
close the door. I think the reason it isn't is because it might be worse than Denver. I don't know. The reason it isn't is more like Fields did not play as well in the second half as he did throughout this whole game in the Denver game. He was inconsistent in the Denver game. But
what do you think, Joe? Worst loss under Matt Eberflus?
I think the Denver loss is worse just because of how bad they were coming into that game, and you were up on them, and you allowed them to come back double digits on you. At least, I mean, this is weird. I know it doesn't. The Senate should never be said, but at least the Lions are a good football team. And for them to come back on you like that is a bit different. It's a bit different. So, no,
the Broncos have now beat the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yeah. So I mean, but at the time they were a bad football team just like us.
Yeah, they just came off 72 point. Well, yeah. I guess the bottom line is Matt Eberflus did this twice in 1 year. And, you add in the Packers debacle where you just got demolished by that team at home in your home opener. I mean, what leg does this guy have left to stand on, Joe Gaither? Is he a dead man walking? Is this it? Is this like sealing his casket in silly glue and duct taping it over the top a million times after you punched 20 million holes in it so you can't get out of it? Is he done?
I mean, I hope so. That's okay. Depends on who you believe, because what? Our buddy Brad Biggs 2 weeks ago talked about him being safe and coming back for another year. Then you've got guys like Rappaport saying he's out at the end of the year. I mean, it just depends on who you believe, but like you hope so. There's nothing about anything. Look, last year you ended the year thinking, okay, the Bears were in a lot of these games. They played hard. They played like they had a good game plan. Okay, they haven't played hard consistently throughout the year this year. They haven't looked like their game plan has given them the best chance to win. Maybe last year you could tell, they don't have as much talent. This year they just don't look well coached at all, and you got some of these dumb decisions. All this rotational stuff. You got what's the deal with Montez Sweat not being on the field?
65% of the snaps.
Oh well, we just run a rotation system. That's just how we do things. Well, how you do things is fucking dumb, dude. It is really stupid. No, I mean you can see that this team maybe isn't the worst team talent-wise, maybe isn't as bad talent-wise as even I espoused in the first 4 weeks of the year. You can see that this team might be capable of being competitive. You just need a real leader, a real coach, somebody that actually wants to, that actually knows what they're doing to maybe give them a chance. I mean, think about you got this loss to the Lions. You have the loss to Denver. I feel like there's another 2 in here from the season, and I'm just not thinking about them because I'm blocked.
The Green Bay loss.
I mean, yeah, the Green Bay loss, you weren't really ever in that game.
Well, that's the point, dude. That was the home opener. They had all offseason to prepare for that. And you were playing against Jordan Love.
Hall of Famer Jordan Love.
Unbelievable. I mean, there was the Chiefs game. We got our freaking dicks kicked in too, Joe. There's just quite a few games where they just completely came out unprepared.
The Buccaneers game, that was a winnable game.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking of because the Bucks game, they were kind of up on that game until late.
And shit, dude, even the Vikings game, man, they only lost that game by 6. They should have been in that game. And the Saints game was another one they could have won.
Oh yeah, they choked that one away too. But I mean, like this
last
week,
it's like you're in these games. It's like, well, maybe if you just had a competent coach, we wouldn't feel so bad about our team because they'd be put in better positions to succeed, and thus, you're not 3-8. You're maybe 5-3. You're 4-4, like something like that.
I truly believe in this learn how to win mantra thing that was going on last year. Like Justin has to learn how to win. The team needs to learn how to win as a whole. I didn't really get that until kind of last year. I'm in Denver, so I'm a Nuggets fan, and watching that team go through the playoffs, win the championship. Like that team knows how to win now, and they go into a fourth quarter down 10 this year. There's like no sweat. Like it's not a problem. And the Bears, like the players, I feel like the players know, well, here it comes. All the fans know it. Like if you're a betting man, you should definitely bet. You should have bet on, Lions plus whatever when they were down 2 touchdowns or down whatever they were down. Because the Bears choke it every time. And they just don't know how to win. They don't know how to close. They don't know how to come back. And it's not necessarily just Eberflus, man. This has been a cancer for a long, long, long time.
I mean, my issue with what happened this game was, did the Lions score a point that wasn't like 2-minute drill? I'm pretty sure all the points they scored, all the touchdowns they scored, were when it was 2-minute drill, and Eberflus was just calling some conservative defense to stop them from scoring, even though they scored every single time on it. Like the defense was balling all game, but they scored at the end of the half when there was like 40 seconds left. They drove down the field on you and put a touchdown in, right?
Jahmyr Gibbs' touchdown was at 9:23 of the second quarter.
So they scored one actual touchdown, I think, during the whole game is my point. It was like most of the points came in that prevent, and you kicked their ass for 98% of the game, but the 1% where it was 2-minute drill, you just got demolished in because you were playing scared. You were playing not to lose. Like, so, I mean, that to me is coaching. I mean, he showed no balls there in those situations. What do you have to lose, man? You suck. Your team sucks.
Fucking Notre Dame, Ohio State all over again. Makes me want to die.
I mean, you just knew it, like you said. When you're down at the end of the game, the fans know it. Like when we punted to the lines there at the end of the game, I was just like, "This is it." Like, there's no way we're getting a stop. Right. I had no faith. I was just like, it's over. And then, especially when it was like, oh, they're going to score and Fields is going to turn the ball over. Like, I was like, and then the first play, that's it. Goodbye. It's the same shit every week.
That's why the Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. All right, so Luke, you opened it up asking about Eberflus's job security. There's no way that he sticks with it. He stays with it. I mean, you're hearing mixed reports over the last 2 weeks talking about he's going to stay. The McCaskies love him. Poles believes in him. XYZ. But you're also hearing, okay, that's just midseason talk. There's no way this motherfucker stays around and coaches a third Chicago Bears season, is there?
100%. There's 100% a possibility. This is the Chicago Bears that, we're going to trot Matt and Ryan out there one more season. No, dude, no. There's absolutely a chance that they do this. And they let Matt and Ryan, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace.
Oh. I was like, when the fuck did Matt Ryan play for the Bears? I'm sorry.
No. Matt and Ryan. Ryan and Matt, the evergreen coach and GM combination.
Better year again. All right, yeah. So they gave them a third year, but so why do you think, Chris? Why do you think this is possible?
Because it's George McCaskey, and he's a freaking idiot, and they'll try to convince him that we're close. Still we're close, and there are signs that they have made improvements. And like the biggest concern here is that they do win 6 or 7 games so that he can say, I doubled the wins in a year. And honestly, for any other organization, that might look pretty good. And from us as insiders looking out, we think, oh, this is terrible. Outsiders looking in are like, shit, he doubled the win total. They are on the right track. Like these are legit conversations probably going on in other fan bases. Like Packers fans are just they want to fire LaFleur like right now. And Bears fans are like, yes, please, we will take him right now, please. Please and thank you. It's just comical to me that this is how this organization is run year in and year out. Like, okay, biggest news today was Matt Canada was fired from the Steelers, right? That is something that the Steelers probably never would have done in the history of the Rooneys, and they did it. Maybe McCaskey's finally going to be like, oh, shit, I'm allowed to do that? Oh, okay. I can fire somebody mid-season? But other than that, man, this like we're back to Virginia getting hit by a bus is the only positive sign of this team moving forward.
I'm waiting for the Warren bomb at the end of the season. I think he's firing everyone.
Assuming that George allows him to.
Yeah. I have the blind faith that he'll do it, though.
I don't think that. I also don't think that Poles will get fired.
I don't think Poles will get fired. I agree on that.
I'm
but
about
I think
90% sure he's safe.
Yeah, I think Warren will definitely step in though and fire a lot of people involved with the Bears. But I do think Ryan Poles is safe after this season.
I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with the next coach and how involved, like if this all happens, hypothetically, and Warren's involved, who the next coach is. As much as Harbaugh makes, every Bears fan's wet dreams, there's a good chance that doesn't happen. So,
Right.
what does the next coach look like if all that plays out?
He could have been the guy that smacked our ass this weekend.
Jared Goff's going to come out of going to retire from football and coach.
Dude,
he threw 3 picks, man.
That last drive though was awesome. That was a clinic on how to not panic down in the fourth quarter.
The funny thing is that Jared Goff chokes huge against the cover 2. And
right.
He did, and then he didn't. You know.
Well, you see, I mean, just like the night and day play calling between the Lions and like what the Bears do. Like, if the Bears were down in that situation, you know damn well they were throwing on every single down. I mean, with the Lions and Goff and Ben Johnson, they were running the ball. Like, they were running the ball as time was ticking down, and they were gashing the Bears just because the Bears were their stupid whatever the fuck don't let them throw a Hail Mary defense. And the Lions were like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll just hand it to Jahmyr Gibbs, and he'll take 12 yards here, and he'll juke out your $20 million linebacker for a first down.
There's some bad tackling. That was the other like joke, going back to like a point you made earlier about last season, is like you saw the hits philosophy or whatever actually start to work, like play out and like make sense.
Yeah.
And then the discipline looked like it was there because we had like next to no penalties last year. Bottom 5 in the league in penalties. This year, that's not true. And then the last piece of it was preparedness. Like, they were prepared. Like, it didn't look like they were completely freaking lost. I don't know what happened to Matt Eberflubber in the offseason, but that dude just like got dumb. Like, it's like they're not prepared. They're not disciplined. They're
not buying it in, dude.
I don't buy that either, though. Like, it doesn't seem like a team that's quit. If they had quit on Eberflus, this would be way worse.
Yeah, but I think they can not quit on him, but still not subscribe to his philosophy or whatever.
But they said like, who was it? Like Lance Briggs or somebody said that there aren't like eye rolls in the locker room and shit like that. There's not nobody's out. Like, everybody's still bought in. And like, that was not true with like Tressman or like whoever. Like, people were like, oh yeah, this fucking guy. Like, this clown, like this CFL nerd. Like, this is not.
I mean, I'm not just trying to like dispute you here, but do you also think that could be because it's like a team of losers? Like you said, they don't know how to win. None of these guys ever experienced winning. Like, these guys are a bunch of bozos. They're all
TJ Edwards just went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
Tremaine Edmonds has a winning record his entire career in Buffalo.
I'm just saying the majority of the team is younger players, and this Bears culture is all they know, which is
but all those younger
losing
players,
consistently, and that includes Fields.
Well, yes, Fields in the NFL, but Fields in college doesn't know that.
I'm just saying the entire offense is like a bunch of NFL losers at this point, like all of them. They don't have a single winning player on that roster besides whatever. Mercedes Lewis, okay, great. The fucking 79-year-old tight end. He's really going to be leading the offensive locker room. Like, they're a bunch of losers.
He had a nice catch for Bagent, though.
Is that his only catch this year?
I think so. It might be. I think Fields targeted him like one time and he dropped it.
No, but do you know what I'm saying, Chris? Like,
no, I hear your argument. I'm just saying,
outside of those two linebackers, it really is like truly a team of just they know nothing but losing.
Yeah. So, but I'm not okay. Like, but you don't think I don't think that them losing makes any difference on whether or not they buy into like whether or not they want to play for a guy week in and week out. If they're a bunch of losers and they don't know any better, then you would think that they wouldn't play hard at all. And I think that there are definitely signs that they are playing hard. This is the problem with this organization and this and what George is going to see.
I think they're playing hard. They're just not playing very smart. They're not playing they're not playing very, very well informed football.
What I have a huge problem with is the shit that Eberflus says at the podium.
Yeah,
Like freaking essentially being asked like what could have gone better and then talking about what you did well. Like what changes would you have made? Oh, well, in the Carolina game and the New Orleans game, man, we really executed there and we had some great calls and defensive coordinator, that'd be me, made some good calls. Like, are you fucking for real? Did you really just stroke yourself on the fucking podium after a 17-point letdown in the fourth quarter? Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's
it wasn't
ridiculous.
only that. He flashed back to the Saints game, which he also lost. It wasn't even a game they won.
I know. Like,
it was I called a good play.
Which we almost won. Like, he said that or some shit. Like, dude, fuck out of here. And you're talking about Carolina, the worst team in the league, and you won by 3 points. And you want to, like, count that in your, like, Hall of Fame and, like, your proof that you're the man? Fuck out of here, dude. Like, this is not
you see, like, I know what you're saying, that it is like the McCaskies, but like all this is just like there's just no possible way they could keep this freaking buffoon. There's just no way.
The problem, dude, is we say this shit all the time and it doesn't happen.
Virginia probably loves him.
Thinks he's so handsome. Yeah, they don't care about job performance. They just, oh man, that Matthew, he's such a nice boy.
He's working so hard.
That Eberflus, he's so nice.
The media is mean to him. I know. I see his light on, the office light on every time I leave.
Did you guys see that play call he had versus the Saints?
He's like my older brother's age. He's so sweet.
Oh my God.
Fucking Eberflus about the same age as Virginia.
I think they brought in Kevin Warren to do a lot of their dirty work and take this organization over. That's what I'm believing. We'll see at the end of the year, but I do think they're going to nuke this thing top to bottom, save Ryan Poles after this year.
Where are you going?
Again, with the timing. Just stupid timing. Like, so after 1 year, right? Is this Eberflus' third year? No, this is his second year, right?
This is
second.
After 1 year, you bring in a president to potentially cut everybody at the end of year two. After the year one of like, we know this is a rebuild. We're gearing up for next year. And in 1 year, you're gonna look back and be like, yeah, they brought in Kevin Warren to nuke everybody. I don't like that definitely wasn't the plan then. It could be the plan moving forward, potentially and hopefully, but I'm starting to question what role Kevin Warren's going to play. I don't know.
Stadium.
What?
He's the stadium guy. That's his job. Get the stadium built. Keep us making money.
Yeah, I don't like to Raul's point. The couple things that Raul made a good point on that had me questioning was like Eberflus choosing. Or Poles choosing Eberflus because Chris Ballard worked with Eberflus in Indianapolis and worked with Poles in Kansas City and just talked him up and so Poles went with him. And then the other thing is that Kevin Warren doesn't leave the Big Ten to just be a yes man for George McCaskey. Those are interesting takes for me.
He's nuking this thing. He's dropping the W bomb.
The Warren bomb. They better go down the hallway on whatever it is, Black Monday, and say, "You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired."
You're cool. Get the fuck out of here.
Bring out a big old trash can and be like, "There's a trash can at the end of the hall. Everybody get the fuck out of here in 3 hours or less."
Justin Fields is going to open his locker at the end of the year, and it's just going to be a picture of Drake May taped to the back.
True. That'd be funny.
Well, you want to talk about the Vikings at all? And it is Vikings next, right?
Come on, Joe. I just set you up with a perfect segue, and you go right to the Vikings. We need to talk about our man Justin Fields' return to the Bears. I think he had a solid game. I still think we overreact too many times game by game with this guy. We got 6 left, and we'll see what happens. But I thought he played well. Like Chris said last week, what is there left to evaluate that you haven't evaluated yet? But
Give him the job, 10-year deal.
now that's what half of or I would say 90% of Bears Twitter would say today. But
10-year deal. He's the man.
yeah.
Fuck that. That dude needs to be on a game-by-game contract. Quarter-by-quarter contract.
Joe, I'm going to ask you this. Was it me or did you think the Lions were almost surprised that he was running that much again to start the game?
I do think the Lions were surprised a little bit, but I was also doing some reading on Twitter with some of the more like the scheme guys, and they were kind of insinuating that the Lions scheme was not really defending a lot of the edge rushing and was kind of letting Justin Fields take that per se. So yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that Justin played that way. That he played well. The thing is just like he's going back to your beginning conversation. He is right there in your. This kid needs to learn how to win. This kid just somehow, some way figures out a way to lose. And I don't know if it's if it's Bears related or if it's Justin Fields related, but I don't know. I feel like the Lions probably just didn't take the Bears very seriously this week is what it looked like.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that, but
for me, my point about that more so, Joe, is also like I feel like when teams really sell out to not let him get outside of the pocket, that's like when he really struggles, which just baffles me on why every team would not just like you're going to see the Vikings do it this week, and that's why I'm like, yeah, he did it 1 week, but we need to see it the rest of the way versus these defenses who are going to adjust to him. And we even saw this at the end of last year when defenses adjusted to him. Like, I don't know. Can you really? I thought Justin Fields played really well, and I would say, yeah, if he played like that the last 6 weeks, you have a really good conversation and debate on your hands. But my question to you guys is, can you really rely on an offense where you have to have the quarterback run 20 times to establish his arm? Like, that's not sustainable. Like, you can't.
I think they ran it way too much the second half anyway.
I mean, sure, but like my point is like you can't not run that because if you just drop him back and pass, then he's not going to be good at it.
No, but I think he's going to scramble for enough to keep you honest. And I was hoping they would start throwing some wrinkles off of those quarterback runs, like dump a pass over the top of it or something, you know. Like there's so many things you could do with that dude and his legs that to threaten a defense, but they don't. They just keep it simple. Shit, dude, fucking I don't know, man. I don't know how Jalen Hurts scores on all these like right up the gut freaking draws, but that was yeah. So Luke, I want to ask you, you know, a lot of people think, you know, Getsy's a big problem, right? I thought that first drive was masterful and that the play calling throughout the first quarter at least was great. And that there's been a lot of times he puts Fields in position to do well. So the other two questions is like, if we're going to hang Getsy for every shitty thing he does, are we going to praise him for having a good game? And the second part is he really that bad, or is Eberflus hamstringing him with like keeping it way too conservative?
To your second question, I think the answer is yes. I definitely think Eberflus's philosophy of not turning the ball over rubs off on him. You know, I could definitely see Eberflus in his ear or something like saying like, you know, run the ball. Like, you know, they game plan this stuff. Oh, if we're up in this situation, we're going to run the ball here and try and chew the clock. Like, it was clear as day what they were trying to do at the end, but it was just like, if you have any kind of like modern NFL brain, it's just not how you're going to win the game. You're not like if you're going to run the ball twice before you throw a deep ball and then punt, at least try and like run outside or run some kind of like to your point, Chris, you said that maybe they ran the QB action too much. In those end of game situations, that's the guy you want running the freaking ball, right? You would want Fields or someone on a QB sweep where they have a one linebacker on him and you hope he beats his guy. Like, we're just running dive plays to our halfback, running into the back of our lineman. Like, freaking run a play action pass too. That would also work. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, I do think Eberflus plays a big part in that. Your question one, I didn't think Getsy's game plan was bad at all. I thought they called a solid game. He did things that Fields does well, and the defense was giving it to him, and he kept going back to it. I mean, that fourth quarter was awful, but without being in the huddle, it's hard to know who's making them shots. But just from what we know about Eberflus, it sure seems like that's like his overall team philosophy.
Yeah, sit on your points. Don't try to get more. I mean, if Tyler Scott fucking runs full speed that whole time, we might be having a different conversation. And it doesn't matter if he ran the ball 40 times in the fourth quarter, but
100%. But also, like, in that situation, I mean, I understand it should have been caught and the ball was perfectly thrown, but also, like, it's a low percentage throw. I mean, why are we not calling some kind of like rub route to the sideline to Cole Kmet or like rolling Fields out?
Or just like slant to DJ.
Even on that play, he could have thrown it to DJ, and I know some people are like, he made the right. DJ was open. He could have thrown him the fucking ball, and he would have definitely caught that shit.
Yeah.
Even if he's a yard short of the sticks, okay, then you have a decision and you punt. But throwing that deep ball is just such a low percentage because
I mean, Bagent would have hit Mooney on a headshot. Just got the first down, but got his guy killed. But Bagent would have never hit that second quarter touchdown to DJ.
Oh, no way.
Secret agent, man.
I think, man, and this is the problem. It's like I really don't know what to think about Getsy and how much Eberflus has influence over the offense.
Shoot him in the head.
Because he constantly talks about how he's in the offensive meetings. Is he really like, oh, like, I'm here to help you, game plan on what the defense is going to do, or am I here to tell you this is how you're going to run your offense because this is how I think football should be played and how football should be won?
It's 1999.
Eberflubber.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I do think Eberflus, that is just the overall team philosophy, and he has all the coaches subscribe to it. But I think bigger picture here,
the ones that haven't been fired for sexual harassment
allegation,
right? I mean, I'm curious though. What do we make out of the field situation here? Joe Gaither, I know how much you liked him coming out of college. I mean, we all did, but what do we make out of it now, especially with the Panthers holding the number 1 pick, which is likely to not drop too far?
I'm in the same place I've been for the last 6 weeks or so. I'd like to see the kid put it together, but I don't like. Yeah, I still see the athleticism. I still see the tools that I loved and that would come out of college. But you're still stuck on some of these. We're having the same conversation that we had 4 or 5 years ago, Luke. With is it Matt Nagy or is it Trubisky? Is it Matt Nagy or is it Trubisky? If only he had a quarterback coach that would fit to Trubisky's skill set. So we're having the same conversations, in my opinion. And again, were the Bears right to move on from Trubisky? Yes, they were. Will they be right at the end of the year if they move on from Justin Fields? Probably so. If they bring him back for another year and they use these top end picks for Fashanu and Marvin Harrison or Brock Bowers or use them for some big time non quarterback. All right, I'm on board with it just because I don't have any faith with It's like we've been out here on this quarterback kind of like raft out here in this ocean, not going anywhere. That it's like, well, shit. If the wind blows us one way, I guess we're going that way. Whatever they decided to do, I don't really have a whole lot of faith that's going to take it anywhere. I still want it to be Justin Fields. I recognize that he had a, above average game, above average performance for himself this weekend. But you know what the end result was? A loss. And whether that was Eberflus and whether it's Eberflus getting into Luke Getzey's offensive room. I mean, I just watched them. I'm watching the game for a second time right here on the second screen. I just watched them from 4th and 1 kick a field goal to go from 20 to go up 9. Well, buddy, if you go for it right there and you punch it in, you're instead of up 9, you're up what's that? Another 4, you're up 12 or so. I don't know. It's just such inept leadership from the top. That do you want Justin? Yeah, I think Justin can be the guy. I'd love to see him show a little more fire, show some of the fire that he showed this weekend. I'd love to show him, see him kind of take more ownership of everything. The problem with the organization right now is everybody points blame at everybody else.
I got a few points, and one of them I just thought of. What did you say? As far as like Fields' progression, I thought this was his best pocket awareness game that he's had, other than the last play of the game, obviously. But you saw him step up into a pocket. He never steps up into the pocket. It's always rolling out, playing laterally, trying to beat somebody with his legs rather than playing the pocket and throwing the deep ball. Like the touchdown to DJ, he stepped up in the pocket, which is something you just never see from him. What were you saying right before then, Joe? Damn it.
I said something about playing with emotion. Said something about taking ownership of the offense. Said something about conservative coaches, chicken or the egg, Mitchell Trubisky.
I don't know.
This is just black version of Mitchell Trubisky.
I just want to see. Well, okay, so like with Getzey, like in Nagy, I think Getzey actually did try to adjust the offense to Fields last year. I mean, we saw a huge explosion of points in the middle of the season when he completely changed the offense. And now this game looks like they're reverting back to that same offense and maybe just adding some wrinkles into it, which they should have done from the beginning of the fucking year.
Yeah, exactly. That just shows
that's where I have a problem. Like, where is the ineptitude then? Is it fucking Eberflus or is it Getzey or I just don't know how long they try to make things work until they realize that they're not going to work and then do something different, which they just don't until it's like too little too late. And like with Fields, man, if he plays like this the rest of the year, we'll have a conversation on our hands. That's for sure. Because I thought he played very well. And statistics, people are complaining that 165 yards is a bad look. When dude had 65% completion. That's my biggest thing. Is
he ran for another 102 on the ground.
And he's hitting passes, dude. That's the biggest thing.
I mean, am I a pessimist for just thinking it's not going to happen though? When you see like the Browns and Vikings on the schedule, like my biggest thing is just like I don't know. It's just it's so Bears, it's so Fields for them to get your hopes up. And then they'll just go out there on Monday night and stomp on your heart with just some garbage that you're going to see on offense. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the pessimist in me, but I'm
especially in national
looking
TV.
at this. I'm
Dude,
just
I hope
like,
so. Man, I hope Brian Flores throws every fucking piece of everything at him.
right.
National
Because like
TV,
if you
it's
don't
gonna look ugly.
like this, you have to know now. Like you have to. He has like you can't just be like, okay, like if you play 6 games against mediocre competition, which there's a lot of that in there. There's the Falcons, there's the Cardinals, like
the Packers.
You play the Lions again, you play the Packers again,
the Vikings,
you play Minnesota but Minnesota's going to blitz the shit out of him. You know they
Right.
will, like 49% of the time at minimum. So I want him to have to do it against different shit.
Right.
Because like Flores isn't going to like allow Fields to run all over the place. He's going to have to do it with some different talents, and they're there. I mean, the Vikings defense really isn't that good. Flores is a hell of a coordinator.
They've been coming on lately, though. I mean, yeah, probably more so about the coordinator than the players, but
oh man, Daniil Hunter's contract, man, that dude's so smart. He gets $1 million to crack 12 sacks or 13 sacks, and then he gets another $1 million for almost every sack from there on out. Like he's just every time he racks up a sack, he's getting another $1 million because of his
how many does he have this year?
He's got 13 or something like that. He's like second in the league.
That guy's a beast. He's always up there. Kind of underrated, I feel like, honestly.
Totally underrated. Put him opposite of fucking Sweat.
Yeah, I mean, am I a pessimist though for just thinking like it's inevitably going to happen where he's going to just?
No, I mean no.
But also
I think you're a realist.
I mean, do you think? Am I also being too harsh from like, all right, one bad game and that's it? Or do you guys really think like if he puts up a clunker, then he's probably pretty much done here?
Depends on what the clunker is. Like if he listen, people want to cry about like turnovers with Fields. My problem with Fields' turnovers were like more like the stupid fumble shits that he does. Like if he has like Bajan type turnovers where he's being aggressive and throwing it over the middle, I'll live with that. Like that's fine.
Right.
If he takes his shots, he's got the arm talent to do things that Bajan couldn't do. But Bajan had the guts, the balls to take shots that Fields just won't take. Like, and I don't know what that is, but if Fields like hesitates and like doesn't hit his dudes and looks like the Fields that we've seen most of the year, then his fate is sealed. But like if he plays like this, I think I don't know, man. We might have turned a corner, but like the fact that he manipulated the pocket so well this week, for me, that is a huge leap forward for him, in my opinion. Right.
No, I agree. That's why I'm asking the question. You know, do you think one bad game does it, or you know, is it possible that he could put enough good stuff on tape, even with a bad game down the stretch, and convince them enough to not take a quarterback at 1 or 2?
Let me ask you this. Like, let's say, do you think that, like, let's say they fire Eberflus. Do you think that they are going to tell the next coach that we're taking a quarterback and not even give him the option for Fields? So, like, let's say it's Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson's like, I absolutely love Justin Fields. I can win with this dude. That they even let him do it? Or do you think Poles is like, no, we're taking Drake May or Caleb Williams, or I got a wild hair at my ass and I'm taking JJ McCarthy?
I see what you're saying.
Because
that's a tough question. I feel like they would have to let the coach kind of.
All right, so then
come to a decision,
and that's what I think is going. That's the off-season soap opera for me. Is what does this look like? Because if it's whoever it is,
right? Could this be like a Tua Mike McDaniel situation in Miami,
or Harbaugh and Alex Smith? Like, I mean, I know that's just happens to be the topic of everybody's wet dreams in Chicago, but yeah. And I mean, all this is really good stuff, but to me, the main kicker in all this is like during all these years when this happened, I don't think there's been a quarterback or 2 quarterbacks of this magnitude coming out. So that's what makes this interesting, because you get different reads on these guys from different people. I've heard people like Nate Tice say that he has both May and Williams up there with Joe Burrow as a prospect. So you hear guys like that who are just respected in, the scouting community and media community. So it's really fascinating to me. He said he had Drake May as number 2 ever.
Yeah. It's
which I
pretty
thought was
insane stuff.
surprising. Like outside, like he said, he never scouted Andrew Luck, but I think he said it was like as far as prospects go, it was Trevor Lawrence and then
Drake May and then
Drake
Burrow,
May.
I think. And I think he had Fields in his top 5 as well. But
Once you've been scouting for like 2 days.
no, I think he said
2 decades. Just kidding.
You
He said he didn't. He said he did.
Nate Tice, is that Mike Tice's son?
Yeah.
Nate
why
Tice-
we don't give a shit about anybody in the Tice family.
Nate Tice does some good stuff with Dane Brugler on his podcast.
Oh, Dane Brugler. When's he going to drop the beast? He's about 3 weeks late already.
No, he's not. You're fucking nuts.
Now, Joe, I know you kind of are on tape about Caleb Williams, but while we're on this topic, I mean, how do you feel about Drake May and the year he's having? Because I feel like Drake May is one of those guys where the hype wasn't there at first, and he got better last year, and then he got, people are like, this guy's really good, he's on our radar, and then this year he's like, he just keeps getting better. How do you feel about him? I know you're a little bit sour on Caleb, but how do you feel about Drake there, Joe?
No, I feel kind of the same sort of way. Not necessarily sour on Caleb Williams. I'm sour on all the quarterbacks. I'm sour on the idea that the Bears are a quarterback away from being, really competitive, like winning the division level competitive.
I think their offense is a quarterback away from being a fringe top 10 offense. I think the offensive line is plenty close, and the wide receivers aren't far off if you draft another guy with a high draft pick. But yeah, I'll let you continue. I'm just going to put that in there. I think the offense really isn't that far off.
It's just with any of these prospects, Caleb Williams could be the guy because it comes into the league next year and becomes that top 6, top 5 quarterback. Same with Drake May. I mean, but there's just so much unknown that I have grown to a place where I refuse to get excited about these guys. Like, it took me. Trubisky got drafted, and I put on his highlight tape that night, and by the end of the night I said, yep, this guy can do it. This guy can be the guy, yada, yada, yada. We can be 15-year pro. I said the same thing with Fields, and I'm just not going to do it. Look, if draft night comes and you draft Caleb Williams or you draft Drake May, I'll be behind him. But do I have a whole lot of hope? Do I have a whole lot of belief? No, I don't. Because who are they going to put him? There's just so many variables. Who are they going to put him with the play caller? Are they going to, mix up the offensive, like all the offensive staff? Are they all gone? Like, what's the deal going to be there? Are they going to throw rookie quarterback out there week number 1? Do they keep Justin Fields or for another year or not? So, yeah, how do I feel about Drake May? I feel, like he's a good dice roll, just like Caleb Williams. Good dice roll. He could be a good quarterback, but are you going to support him? Are you going to give him a good play caller? Are you going to go out and get him another receiver or shore up the interior of the Bears offensive line? Like, are you going to help support that quarterback, whether it be a Drake May, a Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, or whoever it might be?
No.
Just get him a center that can snap.
They're gonna fuck it up. They'll probably hire Jim Caldwell.
Well, exactly.
We had him in the top 3 last time. He's still out there. Let's bring him back.
Let's bring our second place last time in.
That's exactly the point. You bring it. So let's say you bring in Jim Caldwell, and you say, all right, well, we're drafting Caleb Williams or drafting Drake May. Like, you can hamstring any of these prospects. You can put them all in a box. Like, you still got motherfuckers believing that Mitchell Trubisky can be the guy in the right system with the right guy on the right day, on the right temperature, with the right day, with the right breeze in the air. Like, and maybe they're right.
You're literally calling out one dude on fucking Twitter.
Well, maybe they're right, but it's just like you got to get a lot of it correct. And so, okay, are you going to draft Williams or May? Sure, fine. Do that, Poles. But you better make sure you pair him up with the right head coach. You better go out and get him a Marvin Harrison Jr., and you better make sure that Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have ankle or foot problems that destroy his career like your last top 5 wide receiver draft pick that you had. Like,
like so many things can happen that I just refuse to. Like, you have to win 2 games in a row to get me somewhat excited. To get me
Sing
somewhat
the song, baby. To
exactly.
sing the song.
I will not be moved until you win 2 games in a row. And whether it's Justin Fields, Drake May, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, whoever, it doesn't matter. Michael Penix, I don't fucking care. Like, draft whoever you want and get the rest of it around him. Or keep Justin Fields and get the rest of it around him. And it's just going to have to be more than, well, let's go get the – you could drop goddamn Dan Marino in this team right now, like prime Dan Marino, and Eberflus will still be hamstringing him by making him punt on 4th and 1, making him kick field goals on 4th and 1. Like,
all right, Joe.
That's how I feel.
And you've been on record saying this before, and you're sticking to your guns on this, and that's Joe Gaither. But if I had to tell you to pick, who do you want to be the Bears quarterback next year and beyond, knowing all things that Fields is in his 4th year, contract coming up, Caleb Williams, you get the rookie contract plus potential, Drake May, rookie contract plus potential. Which one of those guys are you taking?
Drake May.
Okay. So there's our answer. That's the golden goose. What about you, Chris Krogman? What about you? Same question. Which guy? Drake May. I think we're all on board with that. I agree. I love Drake May.
And the reason is the aggressiveness down the middle of the field.
I just like that he's like more of a, not that the other guy, not that like Caleb and Justin, I mean, they can't. They're kind of flaky from the pocket. I like that he's going to stand in the pocket and not try and run out of there super quick. And then, like you said, Chris, rip to the middle of the field. Do that. Did you see that TD he had in the Duke game?
Yeah, he just flicked it. Yeah.
Look at our wrist.
He took a shot too, man. He got freaking crushed.
Well, he's a big kid too, right?
Yeah, he's big. The thing about both them dudes, though, I know a lot of people, whatever, you can make fun of Caleb Williams or whatever. Both their teams kind of suck, really. I mean,
yeah, it's wild how bad USC is.
USC's bad, and UNC's also kind of horrible. And the fact
UNC's kind of always been kind of awful. It's just crazy.
But the ranked is just like, I guess my point is like the ranked Drake May's leading them to multiple wins, and it feels like in every game he has to come back multiple times, and he does.
Well, that was one of the things Nate Tice was talking about. Is just like they lose, but he has a phenomenal game. Like
he's relentless.
350 and 4 touchdowns, and they just suck. Their defense is terrible.
Right.
Sounds like he's ready for Chicago then.
Yeah. It'll be super interesting. I fucking hate that we have these conversations. Like,
no, I do.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be super interesting. All right.
Well, let's talk about a better topic of conversation. I know we're at 52 minutes here, but Tyreek Stevenson calls 2 turnovers this game. Mm-hmm. It was our 2nd round draft pick. There we had Gervon Dexter. I think had a pressure from the edge. I think they had him deployed outside. I think he had a QB hit. I mean, now that these guys are developing, I think Darnell Wright saved the last play. It was really frustrating, Aiden Hutchinson, for a lot of that game.
I don't necessarily put that all on Darnell Wright either.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have rode Hutchinson right past a clean pocket, but and I don't necessarily blame Fields. It's just bad habits. He just drifts. Like, I've seen it. And there's other quarterbacks that do it too. Like Mahomes does it all the time. Just drifts and just trusts the big arm to chuck it an extra 3 yards that you keep traveling backwards for no damn reason. It's Madden, dude. Like, they just run backwards until they don't get sacked and have to huck it 40 extra yards. But anyway, you're right. I think Darnell Wright had an absolutely great game against Hutchinson.
Yeah, I guess my point is just like the rookies are starting to come around a little bit. They're playing better. I mean, I don't know. What do we think? Do we trust Hulls at least in terms of draft evaluation, or still not quite there yet?
I think that's his strongest suit.
that's the strongest thing that he brings to this team is the last really even 2 years of draft classes.
So to come full circle, would you trust him with choosing the quarterback?
Yeah.
Despite the situation, like, would you feel more comfortable with him choosing your quarterback than Ryan Pace?
I feel more comfortable about him making the choice of do we keep Fields or move on for one of these, because you're taking a risk no matter what. But I think that I feel comfortable with his risk evaluation to say, all right, well, May or Williams, one of these two guys is a better option than Fields is.
What about you, Chris? How do you feel about the draft evaluation and what I just asked Joe? Do you trust him with that big of a decision?
More than whoever else. Yeah. I mean, I don't know who else are
Ryan Pace.
Well, yeah. I mean, Pace not only proved himself with the Trubisky Mitch, but he had a huge hard on for Mariota.
Yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
And he brought him into Atlanta, and he was not good. I mean, not good.
Huge hard on for Mariota.
Pace's process was so flawed anyway. Oh, this guy drives a beat-up car. He's a guy we really like.
The process flaw was
not even interviewing Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. That's not a process. It's not a process. Crazy. And having the guy you thought was worth taking at 3, future Hall of Famer, multi-time Super Bowl winner, come in and then you let him go. I will say, Mahomes has had a down year, and he had 177 yards passing, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, how come nobody's talking shit about Mahomes having 177 yards passing and he's a shitty quarterback?" Because he has multiple Super Bowls already. That's why.
Yeah, some of these people are they get so butthurt about everything.
Yeah.
Can't even watch football without comparing it to something else.
Right.
Not only that, the fact that they're making fun of 177 yards, but also inherently making fun of Fields for throwing for less this week.
Right. That's the thing.
You're laughing at Mahomes saying, "Oh, how come no one's saying this?" But it's like, okay, your guy's still throwing for less than the number you are making fun of.
Right. Well, I think the thing is that nobody's saying Mahomes sucks, but they all say Fields sucks. That's why they're upset. And I would get that if Mahomes hadn't shown it multiple times.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't know.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this Vikings game. So 3-8 Bears travel to the icy cold tundra of Minnesota.
Gonna be inside, dude.
Of Saran Wrap Stadium.
The house that Warren built.
The house that Saran Wrap built. 6-5 Vikings, 3-8 Bears. 3.5 point favorites are the Vikings, which is not that high. And over under set at 44. Oh wait, that's
Monday Night Football.
It's down to 43. On Monday Night Football. And it opened at 3.5 and it's still at 3.5.
Prime time. Bears on prime time.
The prime time Justin against the Steelers a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas? Bears cover?
No.
Your name's not Lucas. I'll tell you what, man. The money and the bets are on the Bears right now.
Yeah. Part of me wants to say they will keep it close because I feel like outside of the Packers game, when Eberflus has extended period of time to game plan, his team normally comes out a little bit stronger. No, I'm going to say the Vikings win by 7. I'm not saying the Bears. I think it'll be close, and then I think something stupid's going to happen. the Vikings will go up by more than they should be.
Is Justin Jefferson going to come back next week?
I don't think so.
He's killing me. Freaking killing me. Joe?
I got 27-20. The Minnesota Vikings will win the game and thus cover.
And the over. So Vikings and the over.
Man on the Minnesota Vikings.
I will say that Fields figures Flores out and throws into the blitz for the first time in his career because we had a huge leap forward where he manipulated the pocket. Now we're going to see that he does know how to throw into a blitz. Instead of running away from it, he's going to actually just throw it to the guy where the blitzer is coming from. And Bears are going to keep it close. I say 24-21 Vikings.
Oh,
I'm saying 27-24 Vikings. No, 27-23 Vikings.
Oh, didn't you say a touchdown? You said a touchdown earlier.
I took it back. 4 points.
They're barely gonna cover.
They're going to cover.
I hate the hook cover. Makes me want to jump off a building. Vegas knows what they're doing. Yeah, I think this is good. This is a good show. Yeah.
happy or sad that your Bears are not playing on Thanksgiving, guys?
Happy.
Happy as
I
well.
don't want to see it. I'm so sick of these Thursday games.
Dude, this Friday game is whack, dude. It's like at 3:00 on Friday. It's weird. So weird.
Black Friday.
Black Friday. It's a weird game.
I'm taking the Dolphins in Survivor, so hopefully they can beat whatever that guy's
What
name is.
Survivor are you surviving?
I'm in one with Austin.
I was gonna say, is this Austin's? And you're still alive?
Well, it's double elimination, but yes.
So you've been eliminated once?
I have the Tigers.
I did lose once, yeah.
Has everybody been eliminated twice or once?
I think there might be a few undefeated teams, but this one gets tricky because in a few weeks you have to pick 2 teams to win with the teams you have remaining. So
Oof.
ton will be knocked out then.
That's fun. That's fun.
This one's fun, and you were able to choose one team to use twice, but they couldn't have made the playoffs last year.
Oh,
I used the Browns. We used the Browns. That's looking pretty good.
yeah. I like
And
it.
then in the first 5 weeks, you had to pick one of the teams you chose to win in weeks 1 to. In week 6, you had to choose one of the teams you picked in weeks 1 to 5 to lose.
Jeez,
So-
Louise, man.
so-
How complicated can you make it?
Yeah, there's quite a few rules in there, so that's why a lot of people get knocked out early. That's why it's double elimination. But
Or
luckily,
you could just make it normal and then not have to make it.
I mean, it makes it.
elimination.
I mean, it makes it fun because like I lost the
does.
bill. I lost
get
the
it.
bill. We lost the Bills game, or the Bills fucking lost to whoever the Bills got embarrassed by the first time
Yeah.
on their losing streak. Who was that? It was someone horrible.
It's somebody, whoever it was. I think that's who I got knocked out. No, I think I got Smartin. No, Danny Dimes saved me week 2 or whatever against the Cardinals. And then week 3 is when I lost, like on something stupid.
All right. Well, anyway, I lost the
Hey.
Bills week, but I'm still alive, so I'm using Miami this week versus the Jets.
Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins.
And
Miami
by the way,
Dolphins.
if the Bears would have won last week, that would have knocked out a ton of people.
Miami Dolphins #1.
You guys think the Dolphins have it over the Jets?
No. Yes. Over the Jets. Yes.
Not with
Oh,
Boyle,
Tim
that
Boyle,
could be.
man.
Yeah,
Tim Boyle,
Boyle's
dude.
coming in.
The
All right.
real question is, do I start Garrett Wilson? That guy
No.
shit the bed last week. Ugh. It's all right. I picked up Rondell Moore. He's Kyler's favorite. All right, Joe. Sing us out.
The Bears still suck.